In the shiny object, chapter 5, the role of the therapeutic relationship in healing trauma and attachment wounds. Attachment theory offers a framework for understanding how early relationships with primary caregivers shape an individual's emotional and relational experiences throughout life. It interweaves genetics, temperament, often categorized by the big five personality traits, and the interaction between the child and their caregivers, typically the mother. Attachment patterns formed during childhood have lasting effects on how individuals perceive and engage in relationships as adults. These patterns often translate into how clients approach their therapeutic and adult relationships, revealing much about their broader relational dynamics. There are three primary categories of attachment: secure, anxious, and avoidant. These categories provide insight into the foundational ways individuals see connection and scrutiny, or conversely, how they distance themselves from vulnerability and emotional reliance on others. A secure attachment forms when a caregiver encourages the child to explore the world and returns with curiosity and validation. In this scenario, the caregiver creates a safe base from which the child can confidently venture out, knowing they have a secure and supportive place to return. The child's exploration is met with curiosity about their experience and worldview, reinforcing a sense of trust in relationships and emotional safety. In contrast, an anxious attachment develops when a caregiver instills fear about the world, encouraging the child to stay close for security. The child learns that safety lies in proximity to the caregiver, which translates into an adult experience of clinginess or a fear of abandonment in relationships. The individual may constantly seek reassurance and validation from others, doubting their ability to manage and distress on their own. An avoidant attachment is formed when a child is encouraged to explore, but upon returning to their caregiver is met with disinterest or a lack of support. If the child is dysregulated or distressed, the caregiver might encourage them to resolve their emotions on their own, often leaving the child feeling isolated and unsupported. As adults, those with avoidant attachments tend to distance themselves emotionally, preferring independence over vulnerability. This may avoid intimacy and having difficulty relying on others for emotional support, often retreating into self-reliance to manage their internal world. Typically, individuals experience a combination of these attachment narratives, but understanding a client's default attachment style often offers significant insight in how they will engage with a therapeutic relationship and how they will navigate relationships in their adult lives. For example, a client with an anxious attachment may be over-reliant on the therapist for reassurance, constantly seeking validation and support, while someone with an avoidant attachment may struggle to open up or trust their therapeutic process, keeping emotional distance even in moments of vulnerability. A securely attached individual will likely engage more readily, using the therapeutic relationship as a space for exploration and growth, trusting in the process of healing. The therapeutic relationship offers a powerful pathway for healing trauma and repairing disrupted attachments, particularly when clients have used external relationships or behaviors, what we often refer to as a shiny object. To avoid confronting deeper emotional wounds, trauma can severely disrupt a person's ability to heal from healthy attachments, often leading to relational patterns that replicate their early attachment experience. For instance, trauma survivors might repeat avoidance, anxiety, and combination of both in adult relationships, mirroring the dynamics they experienced as children with their caregivers. The therapeutic or sacred space allows the attachment wounds to be safely revisited and explored. The therapist, acting as a secure base, can model a healthy, attuned relationship, providing the client with experiences that may have been lacking in their early development. Through this relationship, clients can begin to challenge their ingrained attachment patterns, explore new, healthier ways of connecting with others. For many men, societal expectations around masculinity further complicate these attachment issues. Men are often discouraged from expressing vulnerability or seeking emotional support, reinforcing avoidant or anxious attachment behaviors. This adds another layer to the complexity of healing from trauma, as men may be more prone to using distractions or performative behavior, the shiny object, to cope with emotional pain rather than addressing the underlying issue. Therapy, however, provides an opportunity to disrupt these patterns by integrating trauma theory and attachment theory. Therapists can create a comprehensive understanding of how trauma impacts emotional and relational experiences. This is particularly valuable for male clients who may struggle to see the connection between the past trauma and their current relationship difficulties. The therapeutic relationship becomes a safe and supportive environment where these dynamics can be explored and where healing can begin to take place. For instance, a male client who experiences an avoidant attachment with his mother might struggle with emotional intimacy in his adult relationships, distancing himself from his partner wherever vulnerability arises. In therapy, this dynamic can be gently unpacked. The therapist's consistent presence, attunement, and curiosity provides a corrective emotional experience, allowing the client to see that vulnerability not necessarily leads to abandonment or rejection. For individuals who've experienced interpersonal trauma, the impact of betrayal or divided loyalties can deeply disrupt their attachment model and affect their ability to engage in healthy relationships. Interpersonal trauma often involves someone close to someone trusted, a family member, partner, a friend, leading to a profound sense of betrayal. This betrayal does more than damage trust. It can reinforce or exaggerate an individual's existing attachment style. For those with an anxious attachment who already fear abandonment and crave closeness, the betrayal can make them hypervigilant in relationships. They may constantly be on the lookout for signs of disloyalty, obsessively scanning their partner's action, tone, or behavior for an indication that they are about to be abandoned. This hyper-awareness becomes a defense mechanism, a way to stay one step ahead of the anticipated rejection. In this state of anxiousness, they may become clingy or controlling, attempting to preempt betrayal by staying emotionally overly involved, which can paradoxically push partners away. On the other hand, individuals with an avoidant attachment style, which is often more prevalent in males, may react to trauma and betrayal by justifying emotional distancing. For them, betrayal is a confirmation of their beliefs that emotional closeness is unsafe and vulnerability leads to pain. This attachment style often leads them to suppress their emotions, avoid intimate connections, and maintain a sense of emotional detachment from their partners. In the wake of trauma, these avoidant individuals might increase their emotional distance, using betrayal as a further evidence that keeping people at arm's length is the safest strategy. They may even use betrayal as a rationalization for not engaging in emotional relationships, further reinforcing their internal beliefs that vulnerability is weakness. The impact of betrayal and interpersonal trauma also introduces the complex dynamics of divided loyalties, which can further distort an individual's ability to form healthy attachments. For example, in a case of familial abuse, the survivor may feel torn between loyalty to family members who betrayed them and the instinct to protect themselves. The internal conflict can create a psychological split when the survivor struggles to reconcile love, loyalty, and betrayal, complicating their relationship with others. In some cases, the survivor may feel obligated to maintain ties with their abuser, either out of fear, societal pressures, or a sense of duty, which only deepens their attachment struggles. When these attachment wounds are left unhealed, the individual may experience a repeated pattern of emotional disconnection in their adult relationships. They might avoid intimacy altogether or engage in superficial connections, all the while remaining hypervigilant to any signs of potential betrayal. For avoidant individuals, this pattern can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. By withdrawing emotionally and failing to invest in the relationship, they reinforce the cycle of isolation, further distancing themselves from the possibility of healthy attachment and healing. Their sense of emotional invulnerability becomes a shield, but one that keeps them disconnected and lonely. In both anxious and avoidant attachment styles, the role of betrayal becomes an ingrained narrative that further entrenches dysfunctional relational patterns. Survivors of interpersonal trauma find it difficult to trust themselves and others, often believing they are either unworthy of genuine connection or destined to be betrayed again. This emotional landscape becomes fraught with their fear, distrust, and avoidance, preventing them from engaging fully in relationships or accessing the emotional healing they need. The challenge in therapy is to help these individuals recognize the way in which trauma has shaped their attachment patterns and how those patterns are affecting their current relationships. For the anxiously attached, this means working to reduce hypervigilance and developing a sense of safety and security that does not rely on constant reassurance from their partners. For the avoidantly attached, the therapeutic process involves gently challenging their beliefs that emotional distancing protects them from harm and encourages them to gradually open up to vulnerability and emotional connection. The therapist's role is crucial in navigating this delicate terrain. By creating a secure, non-judgmental therapeutic environment, the therapist can model a healthier attachment, offering a client a safe space to explore their fears, needs, and vulnerabilities. Through this process, the client can begin to untangle the deeply rooted patterns of betrayal and abandonment, learning to trust and rebuild the capacity for healthy, secure relationships. By focusing on the underlying attachment that stems from betrayal, therapy can become a powerful space for individuals to rewrite relational narratives, moving away from fear and avoidance towards a place of trust, connection, and healing. The goal of therapy in this context is not to understand attachment styles, but to transform it. The therapeutic relationship serves as a bridge between the client's past and present, offering a new model for relationships where trust, emotional safety, and connections are possible. This process, while gradual, enables clients to begin to form healthier attachments in their personal lives, breaking free from the patterns of avoidance, anxiety, and compulsive repetition that once defined their relationships. In summary, the attachment theory provides a crucial framework for understanding how relationship shapes adult relational patterns, particularly in the context of trauma. For male survivors of sexual abuse, the intersection of trauma, gender expectations, and attachment theory highlights the complex interplay between emotional needs and societal pressures and personal identity. By fostering a secure, attuned therapeutic relationship, therapists can help clients navigate these challenges, ultimately empowering them to build healthier, more fulfilling relationships in their life. Subcategory or subtitle: Healing Through the Therapeutic Relationship, a Case Example. In the context of John's journey, the therapeutic relationship became a vital foundation for moving beyond judgment into a space of curiosity and understanding. When John first came into therapy, his behaviors soliciting sex workers were seen through the lens of shame and deviance, both by himself and those around him. These behaviors served as the shiny object, a distraction that kept him from confronting the deeper wounds of his past. His external relationships with these women were not merely acts of infidelity. They were rooted in an attempt to reclaim a sense of control that has been brutally taken from him during his childhood trauma. In therapy, trust was the cornerstone that allowed John to begin this difficult work. The therapeutic relationship provided a secure, non-judgmental space where John could explore his behaviors without fear or condemnation. The trust was essential because it allowed John to shift from a place of self-judgment to one of curiosity and openness, to understanding why he engaged in these destructive behaviors. As we delve into his past, John started to see the connections between his current actions and his early experience of sexual trauma. His compulsion to seek out a similar sexual expectation, with the roles now reversed, was not about deviance, but a desperate attempt to regain control in situations where he felt powerless. The therapeutic relationship offered John the safety he needed to explore these painful memories and recognize how they were still influences his life today. The process of exploration was not just about uncovering the roots of his behavior, but also empowering John to see that these actions had a function. They were attempts to manage overwhelming feelings of chaos and helplessness. Understanding this allowed John to reframe his behavior, not as mere failures or lapses, but as misguided strategies to cope with unresolved trauma. Through the therapeutic relationship, John was able to take a leap of faith away from his reliance on external distractions and towards a deep, more meaningful healing. The trust he developed in therapy gave him the courage to face his trauma head on and explore new ways of achieving control in his life that did not involve self-destructive behaviors. This shift from judgment to curiosity facilitated the safety and therapeutic relationship, marked by a crucial turning point in John's journey towards recovery. Subtitle: Attachment Theory and the Power of the Therapeutic Relationship. Attachment theory suggests that early interactions with primary caregivers significantly influence individuals' lifelong patterns of relating to others. When these early relationships are disrupted, when through neglect, inconsistency, or emotional unavailability, it can create vulnerabilities that make individuals more susceptible to further trauma, including interpersonal sexual abuse. In this context, the shiny object in the way these early attachment disruptions set the stage for relational dynamics where an offender might exploit with these vulnerabilities. The violation of attachment doesn't necessarily stem solely from trauma of abuse itself, but also can originate from the fractured relationship with primary caregivers. For men who have experienced trauma, these early disruption in attachment can lead to profound challenges in forming and maintaining healthy adult relationships. Societal expectations that equate masculinity with emotional stoicism further compound these difficulties, making it harder for them to connect deeply with others and to seek help when they need it. This is why the therapeutic relationship becomes paramount in the healing process. This consistent, empathetic, and reliable environment provided by the therapist offers a new relational experience, one that can help repair the broken attachment patterns established in early life. This therapeutic relationship serves as a corrective emotional experience, allowing clients to rebuild the trust and safety may have been compromised not just by the trauma of abuse, but by foundational disruptions in their primary relationship. Through this relationship, clients can explore their past experiences and how their attachment patterns, and begin to develop healthier ways of relating to themselves and others. The therapeutic process allows individuals to work through emotional and cognitive distortions that trauma and early attachment disruptions have created, offering a path of healing that is deeply rooted in relational safety. A critical aspect of this journey is that the therapist's role as a fair witness. This concept involves creating a necessary boundary and support to provide a secure base from which clients can explore their vulnerabilities. The therapist, acting as a fair witness, helps clients navigate and correct an emotional and cognitive distortions that have taken root, while also fostering the courage to trust others. In this role, the therapist offers a balanced perspective, challenging clients' distorted beliefs and helping them reframe their experiences. This non-judgmental and supportive environment is essential for clients to explore difficult emotions and memories, knowing that they are held with compassion and understanding. As clients begin to heal their internal wounds, they gain the confidence to extend trust beyond the therapeutic relationship, laying the groundwork for healthier relationships in their life. By establishing this secure base, therapists empower clients to take the necessary steps towards healing, both within themselves and in their relationships with others. This transformative process is supported by the therapist's role as a fair witness. Subtitle: Unraveling Self-Sabotage and the Parallel Process in Therapy. Self-sabotage is a common yet often overlooked narrative that can significantly impact trust within relationships, particularly for individuals who have experienced interpersonal trauma. In the therapeutic setting, it is crucial to recognize and address patterns of self-sabotage, and they often function as a protective mechanism. These mechanisms create barriers to intimacy and trust, effectively shielding clients from potential emotional harm. However, while these behaviors may offer short-term protection, they ultimately hinder the development of healthy, trusting relationships. Within the therapeutic relationship, identifying potential ruptures, moments when clients feel particularly vulnerable or perceived a threat to their emotional safety, is essential. These are moments when self-sabotage is most likely to surface, as the client's instinct to protect themselves kicked in. By proactively addressing these patterns, therapists can create a secure and supportive environment where clients feel safe to explore their fears and vulnerabilities. This understanding of self-sabotage as a form of self-preservation allows clients to recognize behaviors in themselves and works towards developing healthier coping strategies. The concept of the parallel process further deepens our understanding of these dynamics. The parallel process suggests that the interactions and emotional dynamics within therapeutic relationships often reflect the client's external relationships. Originally identified by Harold Seals and later expanded on by others, this concept emphasizes the interconnectedness of the therapeutic and personal experiences. In therapy, recognizing the parallel process can provide valuable insight into the client's behavior and attachment pattern. For instance, the way in which a client may sabotage the therapeutic relationship, perhaps by pushing boundaries, withholding trust, or retreating emotionally, can mirror how they behave in other significant relationships. By reflecting on these parallels, clients can develop a greater awareness, understanding how these internal processes and defense mechanisms play out in various aspects of their lives. Integrating the recognition of self-sabotage with the understanding of the parallel process offers a powerful approach to therapy. It allows clients not only identify and address self-sabotaging behaviors, but also sees how these patterns are replicated in their broader relational world. Through this combined lens, clients can begin to break the cycle of self-sabotage, fostering healthier, more fulfilling connections, both within and outside the therapeutic space. In conclusion, the integration of attachment theory, trauma, and therapeutic relationships offers a powerful framework for understanding the healing the complex emotional wounds experienced by male survivors in interpersonal sexual trauma. Early attachment disruptions and impact of trauma can shape an individual's relational patterns well into adulthood, often leading to dysfunctional behaviors and self-sabotage. However, through the creation of secure, attuned, and supportive therapeutic environment, therapists can provide a corrective emotional experience that fosters healing. By addressing the deep-seated issues of attachment, trust, and vulnerability, therapy offers the clients the opportunity to break free from the cycle of avoidance, anxiety, and emotional disconnection. Ultimately, this process allows for the development of healthier, more fulfilling relationships and the possibility of true emotional recovery.